Hi everyone, I'm Kat from the Littlestown Library of the Adams County Library System, and welcome to today's Tiny Art for Adults and Teens. Our summer quest theme is Adventure Begins at Your Library, and for me personally, I always think of something that sort of symbolizes adventure as being a lighthouse. So we are going to light the way by painting a lighthouse along the beach of our very own. So if you signed up for an art kit, then you will receive the following: one blank 4x4 canvas, a tiny easel, one paintbrush, and paint pots with the following colors: white, dark gray, light blue, pink, purple, and yellow. So that is what you will receive if you signed up for an art kit. You are welcome to use any supplies that you happen to have at home in order to follow along with the painting. I also recommend that you have something to put water in so you can clean your brush between colors. You should also have some paper towels or newspaper to put down so you don't get paint everywhere, as well as to clean your brush. And I highly recommend that you have something like a paper plate, your own paint palette, or a plastic lid that doesn't go to anything, so that way you can mix your colors, because this one we are going to need to mix a couple different colors, making the purple lighter, making the pink lighter, mixing the gray and the blue, mixing white in with things. So I highly recommend that you have something in order to mix colors. So without further ado, let's get painting. Okay, so we are going to start off with the background, which is going to be a mixture of the white and purple and some of the pink. So go ahead and get a little bit of white and a little bit of purple, and go ahead and mix that up. If you want like a lighter purple, you can add more white. If you want to keep it darker, you can have more purple, but you want kind of a light lavenderish color. And then you just want to go ahead and get that started. Oops, sorry. I'm going to try to keep my shadow out of the way. So you want to go ahead and get some of that on up there. Maybe grab some white and mix that in. So we've got some stuff to blend here. You can also grab a tiny dab of pink and kind of mix that in, because we're giving kind of a sunrise, sunset sort of look. So you've got some pinks, you've got some purples. We don't want a whole lot of pink, just enough to kind of add a little bit of color to it. And you can have some darker purple streaking in there. Everything's going to be like really hazy, so you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about it being like super defined. You can have colors streaking into each other. You can have some darker splotches. It's totally fine. So whenever you need a little more purple or white, you can just kind of throw that in there. I'm going to grab a little bit more pink, kind of streak that in there. So you want to make sure about 2/3 of the way down, you'll want to get a little bit of blue and white together. and just kind of go across right here. This is going to be your horizon line. So you just want to kind of streak that across there. And then you want to have more of the, more of the white and purple underneath. A little bit darker here. And you're just going across there, grabbing a little pink, just kind of putting that in there. But that blue is going to be your horizon line. So however you kind of have it on the top, you want to sort of mirror that as best you can on the bottom, because above the blue, that's the sky, and then below the blue, that is your water. And remember, water is reflective, so you want to, even though some of this is going to be covered up, you do want to try to mirror what you have up top on the bottom. So you just kind of want to streak that along. Again, some of this is going to be covered up. That's not a problem. Make sure you clean your brush between colors. It's a little white in here. Just kind of blend that in. Maybe a little more pink. So yeah, it can look however you want. You just want to make sure that things are blended and that you don't have like really stark bands of color. You want it to be very kind of streaky. So if you're seeing like, oh, there seems to be kind of a band of color here, add something else like, you know, a little bit of white, or, you know, to lighten it up, or like a darker streak of purple in there, you know, just something to kind of mix it up a little bit so it's not completely all one or the other. So, and again, you don't have to worry as much down here because some of this is going to be covered up by the land and everything. So, but you just kind of want to get that all nice and streaky. I'm going to add a little bit more. And again, if you want to add like lighter blends, then you just add more. White. To kind of break that up a little bit. I'm just tossing a little bit more pink in here. And make sure you get the sides of your canvas as well, because you want to make sure that is getting its colors. So once you have the sky kind of looking kind of the way you want it, then we're going to bring in the dark purples. So this is just going to be straight up dark purple. You just want to get that on your brush, and this is where we're doing the clouds. So so this is where you kind of turn your brush like this, and you just start. You might have to hold your canvas. As you see, I kind of have it angled here, but you just kind of want to turn your brush sometimes like this and sometimes kind of on its side, and just make almost like you're making a tree, but this is a cloud. So you want to make sure the edges aren't really super defined. You want it to be very kind of poofy, and you just kind of tap it on there. And then we'll do on the other side and do the same thing. The clouds don't need to touch. Again, we're kind of, oh, what on earth is that? That is a piece of a bug. That's lovely. So we've got these darker clouds kind of coming in here. Sorry, my canvas is kind of Let me tilt it up a little bit here so you can kind of see without the light. So you kind of want to do this when your canvas is still a little damp, so that way if you need to like blend anything, you can. And it does make the clouds kind of fit in with the canvas a little bit better. So you just kind of want to just do some little plopping and blooping, plopping and blooping. Like there's some heavy clouds coming in. You can even kind of swirl it a little bit so it's a little more swirly. Little pieces of cloud here and there. Just make sure you don't go below the horizon line, because you want that, you want the blue to stay your horizon line. You don't want the clouds seeping into the horizon line. Again, don't forget to do the sides of your canvas. And if there are any parts that you just don't feel are quite as defined as they should be, then we can always go back and go over them. Or if you think a part is too dark, then we can always go back with some lighter ones to kind of break it up a bit. But for now, we are going to let that dry completely before we go on to the next portion. Because now we've got the background done, so now we need to start incorporating some more foreground elements. All right, so just give that a few minutes to dry, and then we'll be back for the next bit. Okay, so once your background is dry, then you'll want to take some of the gray and mix it with the blue, because you just don't want it to be quite as dark. So you want kind of like a blue-gray. You can even add some white in there, although that might make it a little bit too light, so probably just stick with the gray and the blue. And then you'll want to do kind of a line just under the blue of the skyline. So you'll want the edge of your brush here. And you want to do that across, and then you'll also want the area where the lighthouse is going to be. So you'll just kind of want to go across. It should be more of a straight line, but we can always tidy that up. And then just make more of the little, like, coming down to the shoreline here. And then right across, again, not neglecting the sides. If you have a thinner brush, that probably would be better, but we don't have that, so we're just gonna make do with what we got. And you'll want to do some more of that down here. Oh, that's a paint chunk. So again, make sure you get the sides. And then down here, you kind of want to make some streaks kind of going out here. Again, trying to use the side of your brush as much as possible. So this is where your tide's kind of coming in. And then you'll want just some regular gray, just kind of right across here, a little bit darker there. Just coming down along the side here. Just kind of darkening up the parts that are in shadow. So you want to make sure that kind of goes out to the edge here. And it's okay if it's not perfect, because again, this is sort of a, you know, early morning, late evening kind of thing. Now I do think that this here is a little thick, because again, we're working with a single-sized brush. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some white and a little bit of pink and a tiny bit of purple to try to kind of match what we've got going along here. And I'm going to tidy that up a bit, just making it a little thinner, covering up some of the gray. To cover it up a little bit, and we can always go back and add more, add less, whatever. Once it's dried, we can always go back and thin that up more. So there we go. So I've thinned it up a little bit, and it can even get some more like blue and white, like white with just the lightest dash of blue in it, because I'm going to tidy up right along here as well. So you see that thinned the line down a bit, but then I've got to make sure that it melds with the rest of the colors there. So I just need some white and some pink to kind of blend that. A little better. See? Whoop. And again, don't neglect your sides there. So that kind of blends it a little bit better. It gives it a kind of, I kind of like it. It gives it a little bit of a light sort of look to it there. So I'm gonna grab a little more of the straight up gray and kind of add a little bit more down here, just to, because it's in shadow. Alrighty, so now we're going to do our lighthouse, which is, it's gonna be right in here. So if you want to like find a stencil online, you certainly can. I'm not going to do that. I'm just gonna kind of freehand it. So I'm going to get my gray and my blue mixed together, because the lighthouse is up higher, so it's going to have a little bit more of the light on it, so it's okay if it's lighter. So we just want to use the edge of the very like point of our brush and do just 2 lines, and then we can kind of fill it in. Trying to do it straight. And just kind of going up here. And lighthouses are a heck of a lot bigger than you might think they are. I went down with friends to the Outer Banks and actually got to see some of them up close. Holy moly, they are huge. Like, these things are giant when you get up close to them. Like, so we're kind of seeing one from a distance here. So, so it's going to be, you know, smaller than it actually is, but like, don't be afraid for it to be, you know, kind of tall. So I'm going to try to do, problem with these, with having the one size brush makes it a little difficult sometimes, but I'm gonna try to just press my brush into a line there and then kind of have a little top on it. And again, we can always like make this look a little bit better by doing things to, you know, like, again, kind of covering up the sides a little bit. Like, if this isn't completely straight, this one's a little bit not straight, so I might do something on this side just to kind of straighten it up a little bit. But first I'm going to clean my brush off, and we are going to, okay, so now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to get some of the dark purple, and we're just going to kind of add a little bit of shape around it. There we go. So you can kind of use the clouds here to help shape the top a little bit. Again, it's okay if it's not perfect. Man-made structures are always going to be a little difficult. So, so like this side's nice and straight. I'm not as happy with this side. So once again, I'm going to get a little purple and a little white, mix it together, and I'm just gonna do a line down here and then kind of go like that, just straighten it up. just make sure you do a little bit like this so it doesn't look quite as odd. And I don't really care for how that corner turned out. So there we go. So that's a little bit closer to what I wanted, and then I'm gonna just use my brush and just kind of pull paint this way. And once it's dried, we can once it's dry, we can always straighten it up a little bit more, you know, make it a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for? Clean it up a little bit. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and get some more of the blue gray and kind of define that a little bit better. And we've got the little like tower corners there. And most lighthouses do have like a little like a building next to it, so you can always do like a little addition onto it like that. So there's like a little house kind of built in with it. And then we're gonna get some white and add a little bit of gray, a little bit of the blue gray, because a lot of lighthouses have a have stripes on them to make them easier to see. So we're just gonna kind of do a little thing there and there. And again, if it doesn't turn out the way you like, we can always fix it. Like, as you can see, I'm not entirely happy with how those are, but I like that the gray is the right color that I wanted. So I'm just gonna leave it and then I can touch it up later. In the meantime, we're going to take some blue and pink and purple and white, just kind of mix all that together, and we're going to have some streaks in here. And then we're just going to get some white and kind of streak it with it. Get some reflections going. And again, if it's too much, no problem. You can always go back and take that off. You know, again, if you just mix a little more purple in or add a little pink with the white, then you can always ease it up a bit. And some little streaks of blue in there. And try to get some very, very light, like purple blues towards the inside here, because the water is the shallowest there, and so it'll be the lightest, and you might have like a little bit of sea foam or something like that. So again, just doing some streaks, you know, little, because this is kind of a calmer sea right now in the early morning. And see some. Maybe a little bit more. Need some more light purple and pink over here. I'm gonna try to ease up some of this. And again, don't neglect your sides. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and let that dry again, and then we can do some more touch up and add the light in the lighthouse as well. So we're just gonna go ahead and let that sit and dry about 10 minutes or so, and then we will be back with it. So once that is completely dry, we can go ahead and do more touch-ups, and we're also going to do the light in the tower as well. So first I'm going to try to touch up the lighthouse a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and do that mix of gray and blue again with just like a little dab of blue mixed in with the gray. And if we need to lighten it up a little more, you can get a little dab of white in there to just lighten it up a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and just touch that up just a little. Although maybe it's not dark enough. I think I might have had a little bit too much white in there. Sometimes it's hard getting these details with just the, get this here. Actually, while I'm here, I've got extra paint on my thing. I'm gonna go ahead and increase this a little bit. So it kind of comes down to the shore a little better than what I had. You know what? Looking at that, it might be better to just leave it more as like a silhouette, because we just don't have the detail, the brushes that'll really do this kind of detail work. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just make it all solid. That's solid, like light gray. Whoops, sorry. Yeah, so we're just gonna have it be a more solid lighthouse. I just don't have the detail. I don't have the detailed brush to do it. You guys don't have a detailed enough brush to do it. Although if you do at home, that's great. Like, go ahead and use it. But I clearly don't. So now we're gonna take a little bit of yellow. Fortunately, we don't need much. So we're gonna take our yellow, just get it on the edge, and we're gonna fill in this little space right there with the yellow. And we are going to be putting white. Then we get some white on the edge. And we are going to slowly drag it out like that. Gently drag the yellow and the white just out in this kind of cone shape. And it's okay to let it just kind of fade off on the edge. Just nice and gentle fade. And if you need to, refresh your white and go ahead and go over that again. And just let the light fade out. There we go. So, as the night comes, then the light turns on. So, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and let's see. I'm going to get a little bit of white just kind of down here along the edges where there's foam. Just light and gentle. A little bit of foam out here. A little foam. Might have done a little bit too much foam on that one, but that's okay. We can just get some of the really dark gray and cover that up a little. I feel like I need to kind of I feel like I need a little bit. That's the thing. Water is hard to do. Like, water is hard to do. Water and fire. Water and fire are two things that are difficult to do. They're difficult to do well. Light and shadow and all of that, just, it's a very delicate dance of light and shadow and just all of that, and it can be hard to get right. And the nice thing is with these guys, they look really good from a distance. So even if you're not like entirely satisfied with it, like I wasn't really satisfied with that foam. So I can just kind of drag it a little like that. So just kind of go across there like that. So there's a little bit of sea foam out there, but it's not very strong. And I can kind of come up here and fix some of the shoreline there. So yeah, so basically, yeah, so water can be hard. That's why I'm kind of going back and kind of redoing things that I already did. just because I'm not entirely satisfied with how it looks. And that's okay. I'm being a little bit more detail oriented than maybe I necessarily need to. And that's just kind of because I'm trying to make it look as good and as clear as possible for you folks. So just to kind of get an idea of like what it looks like and everything. So, but yeah, some of this looks better. It would look better or work better if it was on a bigger canvas, which we're not on. So, and I'm doing some lighter ocean sand down here because it's not as covered up with shadow. But yeah, but basically you can kind of do whatever you think makes it look good to you, or you can stop whenever. You could have stopped long before where I'm kind of at right now, but I'm just kind of adding a little bit of detail like on the sand, give it a little bit of texture. But basically you can kind of, this is around the point where I can kind of stop, because we've got our light from our lighthouse, we've got the clouds, we've got the waves kind of coming in, although I think I am going to lighten up on the inside just a little bit more, which means I'm going to grab more white and mix it with the purple, and then going to just kind of gently along the along here, kind of drag it out like this, and have a couple out here just to indicate where the water is moving, or is really shallow like it is here. So we're just kind of gently lightening that up a little bit. And yeah, you know what? I think we are almost done. I'm gonna add a little bit more to the cloud here. So that cloud is right there. Just gonna kind of have it go by, add a couple darker spots here or there towards the middle of the clouds, and then I think that way it kind of looks like the clouds going behind it, so it won't look so odd, just kind of sitting there. Yeah, just kind of darken that up a little bit just so the lighthouse stands out a little bit more. You could do like a full silhouette and do the whole thing kind of in black, but not really going to do that. I am going to try to give it a little bit of three-dimensionality by getting white with a tiny hint of the gray, of the blue gray, and just do basically right along the edge of the lighthouse. Right along the edge of the lighthouse. So that way it has a little bit of that three-dimensionality to it. I'm kind of doing just a little bit of an indication that it's three-dimensional. And here, teeny little window to indicate that the light keeper is on duty. So there we go. Yeah, I think that turned out pretty well. And again, these look so much better when you have them like up on your wall so no one can see like the really close details. But I think that turned out pretty well. So again, just don't neglect to paint the sides of your canvas, and hopefully you enjoyed this edition of Tiny Art for adults and teens. And hopefully we will see you for another one before long.